Alright guys, welcome. I'm making this to share the latest updates regarding the new brand which I've been quietly working on for the past 4 months, I would say. And actually I've acknowledged it once, so if you have watched my previous video, this is going to be the latest update because we're very close to actually getting the job done. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is product, first of all. So what was the criteria I used, but then also what's the vision behind all of this? Why am I doing this? Because I know it's a very unpractical or unusual thing to see in the organic space, right? So usually this is more about the paid ad space where you build a brand, something that's, not one mock you and you spend a while working on. So I have some data to back up my decision. So it's not like I'm reinventing the wheel. There's a lot of proof of concept. And if you've ever watched my content before, you're gonna know that I always emphasize the importance of proof of concept. So it's not bad to add to the wheel. So whether something has worked in the past, you could do it better your own way. So that's what I typically do. But I always love to have some data behind whatever I do to back up or to give me the safety net that I'm not wasting my time. So that's the philosophy or the foundation of this whole idea. But then obviously the product is where it gets a bit trickier because especially if you have to create a custom product, and that's like the end goal of every brand owner because once you have a custom product, it's tied to you. So nobody else will actually have the same design. And then you could trademark it. So it's only yours, you know what I mean? So this is obviously the end goal for any ambitious dropshipper or ecom guy. So here's a backstory, okay? So I did 3 years or three years and a half by now of ecom. The first 2 years were pump and dump. Nothing was working, by the way. And then at the time, I had like a small network in the space. And that's one of the reasons, by the way, I built this entire community, the Discord, which we have free calls every week, free sauce, pretty much. Is because when I was trying to find my first winner or just network with people, change my environment, right? That does the same thing. The number one problem I faced was trust issues. So that's number one. So whether you actually find someone in a random Discord you speak with, they're oftentimes trying to steal your product or steal your ideas or, I don't know, sell you a course, whatever, right? But at the time, I had this idea that I was sick of pump and dump products and I wanted to already skip the line, right? Everyone at the time, until this day, unfortunately, they think that you need to run a lot of pump and dump products until you find your first 10K product, and then you either turn it into a brand or you're qualified to run a branded product. I skipped all of that. I wasted 1.5 years or 2 years doing pump and dump, and at the time I even felt like it's not going to work. But I'll give you actually one insight. So during these 2 years, I've tried to run a branded product, and that was like one of those L's which actually taught me a lot because obviously failures are lessons, right? In fact, I would highly suggest anyone watching this, if you're a beginner, try to fail as much as possible. So run 5 products a month, as long as they are saturated, verified in the sense that, they've proven concept, then run them. Even if you fail, you're going to learn. So that's what I did. I actually tried to run a product which had such a high monopoly, okay? If you know, it's Fun Punch. So this is again 2 years plus ago, probably 3 years by now. Yeah, 3 years ago. But at the time, it was right after they pulled it off. So they were going viral and I think they were starting to do paid ads. By the way, I speak with Vilento. I have a lot of respect for him and what they've built. It's an 8-figure brand by now. So at the time, I tried to actually do that because I already knew that I want to do something bigger. I don't want to just pump and dump. I would say the reason why it didn't work, number one is AI. There was no AI at the time. Number two, because if you know, like, it's a very high barrier of entry product to film. And then number two was I didn't have the knowledge to back up what I was doing. I was actually reinventing the wheel. This is why you're going to hear me a lot from now on where I say everything has a proven concept. Everything has some sort of data to back it up because I've been there where I try to be innovative, but the harsh reality is it won't pay off until you you have a lot of knowledge and experience to the point where, okay, you take the data, which is already laid down by others, and then you give it your own twist, which may look like a new brand idea, but in fact, it has a lot of similarities or like a lot of puzzle pieces that you put together to create this new idea. So here we are now. After I found my first winner, I actually ran 2 products, and at this point, I'm more than ready to run a new product, which is completely custom MOQ product, and it's gonna be here in a month or maybe less than a month. But here's the catch: we're doing it, at least for now, completely with AI, and I truly think any product you're running should be run with AI. In fact, every single creator I'm enrolling, and this is crazy because I've never done this before. So every single person who's trying to reach out to the affiliate program, which we have for free again, does usually require some sort of organic content creation skill. But nowadays, I'm actually asking for the AI content creation skill more than the organic side of things, because it does have a higher leverage. So you could start working instantly without waiting for, the supplier to send it from China and, all of the other hassles, even the capital. So I truly think AI is changing the game completely. But here's what I want to really emphasize in this video. When I say I want to do this with AI, the number one thing which the usual or the average pump and dump guy would think of is that we're going to do this the unethical way. The storytelling, handcrafting something, or failing business. That's not what we're going to do, okay? It's a big red flag. I've been actually saying that this is the worst thing that ever happened to organic dropshipping. So I want to make that very clear from now. I truly think, I'll say it here, this is like real sauce. AI is very brand new. It's very recent in the organic space. So when we speak of the organic dropshipping space context, I truly think AI marketing is very untapped, because right now, all they did, whoever created this trend, that like now it literally brainwashed people to think that if you're doing AI marketing, then it means you're doing the unethical route. I'm trying to change that perspective. Okay? So all that happened was there was a very good, by good I mean like high converting, high CVR format, which has worked for the past like year and few months. So since Feb of 2025 is when we saw this boom of new stitching era, the grandpa method and stuff, which again, I highly do not recommend, okay? Big disclaimer, it's never recommended to do that. I've never done it, never will, okay? So all they did was that after they realized it's a very unethical route and it could actually backfire, a lot of people got problems because of it, all they did was they brought AI to replace that person they're stitching their content from, and then create their own avatar, and then create the same storyline. Perhaps a bit more, because back then they would say shelter, now they just say like, oh, is it really that bad, or failing business. So they're both bad, but I would say that one was way worse than this. So they're still bad, okay? I wouldn't recommend any of them. Anyways, this is just one side of AI. This is what I'm trying to say. It's so popular, I know, but this is just one side of AI. You could be finding other formats which has worked in the past. Try to do your market research, whatever product you're running, by the way. See what worked in the past. Could be 1 year ago, could be 3 months ago, whatever. Preferably the more recent. And then try to think, how can I recreate this with AI? How can I improve this with AI? Because one limitation we had with, physically creating and marketing a product was that we had to firstly wait for the product. And then secondly, we had to most likely record it indoors. Like the problem with the space, and this is something which I've been trying to advise you guys to stop doing, is stop having the same background all over again. So everyone has this 3D background and, these LEDs and stuff, It looks too dropshippy. So that was obviously a problem, right? So lack of aesthetics in the background, and then the fact that you had to wait for the product to arrive. So these are two big problems. And then maybe the capital that you may have to spend. So now, not only could you run a product faster on day one of having the idea, but then also you could have a more aesthetic background, perhaps better lighting with AI. And then thirdly, you don't have to pay. Like you just pay once for the subscription and then you're good. So this is a big deal. And hopefully I'm trying to send a clear message to you guys so you find different formats which are ethical. It's all about morality, okay? value is over everything. And it's nothing new. Business has always been like this. There's always been tempting ways of marketing, especially marketing, because it's always been known that there's good and bad sides of marketing. So I truly believe you could pick the right side, the good side of it, and you can still convert really well. So that's our mission. And, since I went this far into this, if you would like to be part of this affiliate program, let me know on Discord. We never sell anything, by the way. If you join my Discord, we have weekly calls every Sunday, product research, Q&A, and everything. And then also we have a affiliate program where one-on-one calls, you get cut, and then I help you with everything you have, okay? So let me give you the latest update apart from the AI, right? The second thing I would like to update you guys about is, I think it's more about the mindset. So at the start, regarding this product, okay, let me link it to why I chose it, or what's the criteria I used. My very first winner, okay, it wasn't something new. So I want to make that very clear to you guys. It's not about what's latest. You could be picking a product from 3 years ago and then turning it into a winner. So I truly think you could turn any product. And by the way, this is I think this is one of the pillar mindsets for paid ads experts. Okay, I've spoken with some 7-figure, paid ads guys, IRL, and they truly believe that you could turn any product into a winning product. So it's no longer about the product, it's about how you market it and the copywriting on your website. So here's the message I'm trying to give you. Number one is, don't just keep on looking for the next shiny objects product. Like, don't wait for someone to do the hard work for you. Okay, you don't need to be waiting till someone try to create a new trend or find a new product for you. You could either do it yourself. Again, try to see what has worked in the past. Okay, I'll give you a good example. There's this camera that you put on your chest, right? And then, it's like a magnet, and you could record anything you do, any hobbies. And this was a winning product 1 year ago, exactly 1 year ago. Nowadays, you can still run it till now. One is because it's flexible. You could market it in whatever angle you would like. So it could be car niche, could be whatever, like skiing and so on, horse riding. And then now, here's the catch. You could take the same concept, the same idea of this product, and then turn it into a new winner. How? By going to AliExpress, which is the more advanced way, and then looking for a product which has the same traits, the same value of that product, but in a different physical form. So it could have a more wow factor to it, some new feature to it, some new technology, maybe even cheaper price, and so on. And that way you could be the first to introduce it to the market. And that way people will copy you. You know what I mean? So you would create a trend. You see, everything is being linked to the proven concept. Just make sure that you do your daily product research, daily market research, to be aware of all of these trends, so that you'd have the eye for it, but then also to find new winning products when you go to the advanced method like AliExpress product research. So that's regarding the product research, is that I didn't go for something new. Okay, it's been around for a bit, and yeah, I just did it better. Okay, and I made it custom. So that's one. Let's see, number two. So let's go back to the paid ad space. I really want to emphasize this. So not only do they believe that they can turn any mediocre product into a winning product, so that's the first belief they have. The second one is, let's see why they can do that, right? What's the underlying reason? It's because they emphasize, or they work hard on two things: copywriting, and unfortunately in the organic space, nobody works on this or acknowledges the importance of copywriting. What does it mean? Firstly, how does your funnel look like? So when viewers see your content, they go to your Instagram page. Firstly, in my opinion, that's the first funnel, the first landing page. Does it look presentable? Does it look branded? Because it's going to determine, this first impression of them seeing the product page, like the Instagram page, will determine whether they're going to have the trust enough to click on your link, right? So a few things will, help you is social proof. So do you have some feedbacks in the highlights? Do you have a lot of followers? Unfortunately, it's very important. So these are like some really important things. Maybe the thumbnails, they look good. You have some pinned pictures and so on. So these will determine how more likely people will click on your website. And then from there, they're going to go to your homepage or product page. Again, this has to be something you need to decide. 99% of the time, the average organic dropshipper will take them to either the collection page, where they have just like random products, like 8 products, and that's it. no reviews, nothing. Or they take them to the product page again with like a copy paste of every other dropshipper. So if you were to look at the paid ads guys who are actually printing, you would realize they're putting a lot more work to it. They would either take them to a home page, which you could literally scroll for a minute. You would keep on scrolling. It's a complete funnel from A to Z. Then at the bottom you could purchase, or you would see them take them into a multiple layer funnel. So could be product page or collection page, whatever, and then or even advertorial, which is literally a page dedicated to make you aware of a problem you were not aware of. So you would read that, you would go to the page or the collection page. Most likely it's product, and then so product page, and then the cart and checkout. So there's a lot of different ways of funneling the initial viewer to the final checkout. And from personal experience, I'll tell you what worked for me and what I've seen others do in my space, in my network. Homepage, if you actually can make it look very branded, do the homepage funnel. So from the homepage all the way to the collection or the product to the checkout. So that's your first one, or directly to the collection page. Again, it depends on your product. Since we mentioned Fun Punch in this video, I'm going to give you him as an example. So they actually take you to the product page. So if you go to their paid ads, you click on the link, it will take you directly to the product page. Why? Because he doesn't have like a crazy list of products. Obviously, he has a lot of different products. I think they introduced like a few more accessories, but the primary, the product which is printing 99% of their sales, or 95, whatever, is the punching bag. So they just take you directly to that product page, but then there's like a lot of variants, and it has a lot of social proof. So there's a lot of things you could learn from these pages, whether it's like, again, the copywriting. So how did they structure everything in terms of convincing you that you need this product and why would you need it? Okay. So they would acknowledge every different aspect of the consumer. So whether you're an IT who would be enraged at coding, you would punch the punching bag, or whether you are an athlete who would like to practice at home, I don't know, whatever it was, you would find a use of this product. And that's the beauty of it. And this is actually reflected in their marketing on their paid ads, by the way. It was also reflected in their organic content. So don't worry, this all applies to organic dropshipping, and that's what I'm doing, by the way. So that's the copywriting. And then 2 is, again, the funnel. Try to see what your competitors, perhaps in the paid ad section, are doing. You could get inspiration. And then thirdly is the AI, guys. AI images can increase your CVR dramatically, and this is actually what got me up to like 1.5 to 2% CVR in Q4, and that printed for me 1% plus CVR organically for a high ticket product. How did I achieve that? Through the AI images. So I highly recommend you guys put a lot of work, a lot of focus on AI, not only for the marketing, but then also for the website. Make everything look very branded and just trustworthy. So I gave you guys a lot of thoughts on this one. I think this is it. I think that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give you like a quick update, although this is like a longer video, but hopefully you guys have a better understanding of where I'm coming from, the background of why I'm running this product and how I'm structuring everything. It's a lot of AI. I'm spending like 4 to 6 hours just designing and prompting, like designing the marketing, advertorials and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. If you guys have learned anything new, subscribe, let me know in the comments. And again, join my Discord. I'm trying to build a very transparent community, okay? Very positive one, because again, this is the number one thing which I struggled with and I would love to do, is to build a very positive, helpful community for free. And yeah, if you'd like to be part of the affiliate team, we need some more creators. Honestly, I'm not accepting everyone. I'm going to be totally honest. I've never done this. Usually I would accept anyone who needs help, but right now we just have like a few spots. So if you'd like to be seriously involved, let me know. You're going to learn a lot of things. So again, it's free. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.